Hello and welcome to this live stream of Mad About Sports. And here we are to talk about the Super 8s in particular because Super 8s are around the corner now and we've had some qualifications. I think just one spot is barring, and that we've had almost all the teams qualifying into the Super 8s, and the confirmation is already done as to who will be qualifying into the Super 8s. Now that all that we know, it's going to be an exciting Super 8 because you've already seen the drama which took place in the group stage. Certain big boys missing out, certain underdogs making it the cut. So the group stage has been fantastic, and now we'll be anticipating into the Super 8s. But before we get into today's stream, do not forget to check out our course in Mad About Sports on cricket analytics. The link is there in the description. Fill the Google form, and our team will get in touch with you because the cricket analytics career is a lucrative one, and you can make a dream career out of it working with your favorite sports team. So, without further ado, check that course out, and let's get straight into today's stream. Now, as I mentioned, Super 8 is going to be one exciting journey for a lot of teams because you have a USA there who's making the cut for the World Cup for the first time, and they are in the Super 8s. On the other end of the spectrum, you have an Afghanistan who's really not everybody expected them to come out of that group of West Indies and New Zealand, but they made the cut and they've looked extremely formidable in this World Cup so far. Pitches have been aiding them. And then you have the big boys like Australia, India, England, the West Indies, who is really making a comeback into the world stage, who wants to really prove themselves because last time they did something big was in 2016, 8 years ago, when they won the T20 World Cup in India. So here is a team who really wants to prove themselves in a big stage. And on other side, you have India, who's still hunting for an ICC trophy. So it all in all augurs for a very exciting, you can say, a very exciting Super 8 stage, which we have an offer. So let's look at the table, right? Because it's only time that we look into the table and understand how things stand as of now. Excuse me. As you understand that now, with a lot of Super 8 stages, one thing which we can understand is that only two teams make it to the semi-final. As you saw in group stage, only two teams make it to the semi-final. So the group two is already set. You have England, South Africa, USA, and the West Indies. On the group one, you have Afghanistan, Australia, and India. So when you talk about group one more team can make it. That is going to be between Netherlands and Bangladesh. So most likely it is going to be Bangladesh because they are slightly ahead of Netherlands at this point, and they have more chance of making it as well. England, yes, I mean what a story for them it has been in this World Cup, right? At one point, everybody thought they knocked out, and yesterday's game it was almost a washout. It was very close to being a washout. They got a game against Namibia in 10 overs. They made the most of it. They scored 122 odd runs, 24 odd runs. Then Namibia was balled. Namibia just scored 80 odd runs, 82 odd runs. They won by 41 runs in yesterday's game. And then Australia versus Scotland. Remember, Scotland had Australia by the scruff of its neck because, in all that we know, Scotland had a terrific performance against Australia, got the game close, went to the last over, and Australia, by the barest of margins, crossed the line. So, yes, you can say Scotland could have possibly gone through even when they had fates in their own hand. So, England, yeah, they would feel themselves a little fortunate that things did go in their favor. And now that England are in the Super 8, you have to take them seriously because you know what this England team can do. They are the defending champions, and they can always, cause a big upset here or there. There is England, South Africa, West Indies, and the USA in that group. It's going to be one amazing group to watch out for. That all we know because USA again they want to prove themselves in this big stage. They've looked confident. They've looked like a team who wants to go out there and possibly do something big. You already saw that from the confidence which the players showed, likes of Avin Jones for that matter, or for the matter Ali Khan, and even someone like Saurabh Netravalkar. He has been very confident that this team can do something exceptional. Now their chance of qualifying for semi-final is obviously dependent on their performance, and if they can pull up a big upset in the Super 8s, they'd be extremely happy. I know you just have this funny feeling that South Africa or West Indies could fall prey to a USA attack. So I have a funny feeling that South Africa could possibly lose to USA because two reasons. This USA team is unpredictable. On their day, they can just roll over anything. They gave a major scare even to Indians in that group stage game. Yeah, you can say the pitch aided the bowling a lot more of the USA bowlers, but the fact of the matter is They plan well, they execute their skills well, and their fielding has been exceptional thus far in this tournament. So they've done the basics right, and that's the reason they're there in that table right now. They're in the Super 8s. The pitches are going to be slightly more better than what you saw in New York. They're going to be up against an uphill task of facing South Africa, West Indies, and England, but never write them off. You still can say they can be one of the better teams. Who else are we going to talk about? Because when we talk about Group Two, I want to start off with Group Two because that's a group where all the teams are stacked up, and that's the lineup for Group Two. We'll come to Group One shortly, but let's talk about a West Indies team, right? Now I spoke about the USA team. USA team can be unpredictable, but the West Indies team is a team to really watch out for two reasons. Now, firstly, they're playing at home. Secondly, they have a point to prove here. Darren Sammy looks like a coach who was extremely motivated. Yes, they missed out on the world stage for the last two occasions. Remember, in 2021, they did not qualify into the Super 8s, you can say so. They missed out. The Super 10s, rather. They did not qualify. So here is an opportunity where you have the West Indies team who's been playing decent cricket. Remember, against New Zealand, nobody gave them a chance. They were almost out and about, but they pulled themselves up and they finally got that win against New Zealand. It was not easy to defeat New Zealand because New Zealand come with a lot of execution and planning. Defeat them was a big deal, and then to go out there and to challenge even the likes of even the likes of PNG in the first game was a big deal. It was not going to be easy to defeat PNG at all because they had their moments as well, but they came back. They had two comeback victories in this World Cup, so not a bad way for West Indies. Yeah, they've not looked very convincing thus far. Also, the pitches haven't been that great, right? So you expect West Indies to peak at the right time. The likes of Nicholas Pooran is still yet to fire big. You can expect Brandon King to fire big. So these lads are still yet to come to the party. Andrew Russell with the bat is still yet to come to the party. So if these guys come big, then West Indies will really start rolling along. So West Indies at home, never write them off, and their spin bowling has been exceptional with Kundakesh Murthy and also with the likes of Akhil Hussain. They've had a strong spin bowling of 8 overs, so have done really well. And then obviously the Pacers have been good. Alzari Joseph in particular have been able to pick up wickets consistently in this World Cup, which is good news. He's hit the right lengths. He's not really looked down to ball extremely short. He's bowled that right length where he's gotten wickets. He's got a good change of pace, which is developed in this World Cup as well, which is good to see. And that's one of the reasons why you can never write a West Indies off. So West Indies in that group can be a menace. If they can win their first couple of matches, they'll be well on course for that semi-final route. And once they're in semi-final, it comes down to that particular day. So I'm expecting West Indies to have a good tournament, considering it's in West Indies, number one. Number two, the team has been doing the small things right. That's the spin bowling has come into the party, paces have come into the party, and somewhere or the other, someone has stepped up with the bat, right? Rutherford in the last game was extremely impressive against New Zealand. Remember, 22 for 4, you expect uh, New Zealand to run right over West Indies, but that did not happen. The composure which Rutherford showed, that's where you have to give the West Indies team commendable efforts for the kind of effort they put in. And Darren Sammy especially, he's a coach, he's a captain with a proven track record as a coach. Even in the PSL, he's done a far decent job. We expect him to, really be an inspirational figure in that dressing room, and hoping that he really pulls the socks up of these lads and helps them do well in this tournament. And you can expect this West Indies team to really make a mark come the latter end, especially Super 8s, and also if they qualify to the knockouts. Now that's West Indies. We have talked about the last team from this group. It is South Africa. What is it about South Africa this tournament thus far? Thus far in this tournament, they played 4 games, and all their games have come to the last over. Right? It's not been convincing of sorts for South African team. They've had their moments. If you look at the table, which I'll just pull it out for you. Uh, yes, I'll just pull up the table which is out there. The group stage table. South Africa, yes, they've looked very comfortable when you look at the points tally. 4 games, yes, looks very good. Against Sri Lanka, they were good. They again, they've got them all for 77, took the game lead. Against Netherlands, went to the last over. Against Bangladesh, went to the last over. Against Nepal, last moment victory by 1 run. So it's not been a very convincing South African team. Yes, the pitches have to do a lot with it, but the fact of the matter is, you never write off a South African team ever in a group stage, right? They always will try to make it as a knockout, then on that particular day, what doesn't come in their favor is because of them. So far they've been able to hold their nerve well, which is good signs, and they're yet to peak. Right against Nepal, you saw they kept composure well, and that's one thing you've seen from the South African, especially the lower middle order, the likes of David Miller, Tristan Stubbs. These lads have kept composure well. Takes me back to the game against Netherlands, for the matter. No, you felt at one point Netherlands could possibly pull another rabbit out of their hat in defeating South Africa, but they kept their composure, they kept at it, and got that victory. So that's where I believe somewhere down the line, it's good for South Africa to play these close games because that helps them to handle pressure better. And even the Bangladesh game, Keshav Maharaj possibly bowled his worst over, which you have seen him ball, but still managed to win. That was great. Tabrez Shamsi against Nepal was exceptional. And that's why even Batsman bowling the last over, defending eight. I mean, you have to give him credit. And though Nepalese batters were they were a little bit of a trouble. They were not confident enough to really go out there and do a job. But the fact of the matter is, you have to really give it to them, especially when it comes to understanding what really goes into winning these tight games. They've been able to do that as a practice from the first game to the last game. They've been winning the games. That's what matters, and winning is a good habit always. And South Africa will be confident that they've gotten 4 wins. The way in which the manner of the wins can be questioned, but at the end of the day, if you're able to hold your nerve in these tight games, then you will really have a run through, especially when it comes to the bigger games as well, because you did not get anything easy. It was not, you had tests in almost every game. So that's a good character to build. As a team, they've showed composure, they've shown temperament thus far in the tournament. The team has not yet peaked. The likes of Quinton de Kock, likes of Klaassen, these lads are yet to come into the party. And in West Indies kind of pitches, I expect Klaassen to come good. I expect someone like a Quinton de Kock to come good. So I'm expecting South Africa to have a good World Cup at least. So from my point of view, I certainly think West Indies and South Africa are the teams to watch out from this group. But I expect USA to upset one of these teams as well. So exactly speaking, why? South Africa, if they can defeat an England or defeat a West Indies, that's going to bolster their confidence 10x from there on. Because look, they've got a very good bowling attack, especially when it comes to spin department as well. I'm expecting both Keshav Maharaj and Tabrez Shamsi to start together as well, because I expect on certain wickets in West Indies, you can play two spinners, and you can afford to drop a pacer and bring in a spinner. And that's where I think if with two spinners, three pacers, they look solid. They look very solid, because then you have a Jansen, Andre Nokia, Kagiso Rabada, or you can drop in a Andre Nokia and bring in. You can stick in with the Bachman, because Bachman hasn't done anything wrong thus far in this tournament. So they have a very solid team to play up with, and their fixtures are obviously up there. Now they have to play in England, USA, and the West Indies. It isn't going to be easy, but certainly it's going to be exciting for them. If they can get a couple of wins, they certainly are on their way to the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup. So that's from Group 2. Let's go to Group 1 now. This is where India, Afghanistan, and Australia have already sealed their places, with one more team yet to join them. As I mentioned, it could be most likely Bangladesh. But let's talk about this group. To start off with, I think we have to talk about India. What has it been about India this World Cup, right? So far, Virat Kohli hasn't come really in form. They had a washout against Canada, which they wouldn't quite mind. But for India now, they have to be wary of. It's a different condition altogether. It is in New York. It is in America. It is the Caribbean soil. These are pitches where the ball is going to turn a little bit. So how are they going to prepare to tackle these pitches, right? Number one, first and foremost, how many spinners can they play here? Now they have an Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja. Ravindra Jadeja hasn't really stepped up into the party at all this tournament. Now, what's the best way India can go? India can possibly drop a pacer. I'm expecting India to drop Mohammad Siraj and to play a spinner in Kuldeep Yadav. Now, with three spinners, Akshar Patel and Jadeja being the extra two spinners, I think India will be far more comfortable going in with three spinners, and with Hardik Pandya bowling well, I'm expecting India to play that combination. Now, is there another combination which India can try out? Most likely, yes. Now, another combination which I'm quite excited India to try out is possibly bring in two more spinners, which where I'm talking about is maybe you can afford to drop a Ravindra Jadeja, promote Akshar Patel up top, and then bring in Kuldeep and Chahal as well. Two risties, yes, it's a risk obviously, but these pitches in West Indies have shown turn. And you've seen likes of left arm spinners have gotten turned. You saw the left arm wrist spinner, in especially in Tabla Shamsi getting turned, and also orthodox spinner Akil Hussain and Gundakesh Moti have bowled exceptionally well in these tracks as well. And we also mid sander ball well. So the finger spinner is always going to come good on these tracks in West Indies. But if you have a wrist spinner, it's always going to bring in variety. And to ball with the wind, against the wind, you need bowlers who can take the ball away and into the batters. So that's what I'm expecting Kuldeep Yadav to make into the team in these conditions in West Indies. And the pitches for batting are going to be slightly more better than what you saw in New York and somewhere in America. So I'm expecting batters to really come good as well. I'm expecting the likes of Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma to come good. And at the same time, the spinners to also step up into the party a lot more. Now, spinners will have a far greater job to do than pacers. And for pacers, obviously, I'm expecting Jasprit Bumrah to have a phenomenal tournament because of two reasons. The pitches in the Caribbean are still offering enough seam and swing for the pacers because of the wind, because of the overhead conditions, what you're seeing in a lot of these grounds. So, likes of Jasprit Bumrah will always come good on wickets like these. So, that is never an issue for a pacer like him. He's always going to be a bank for you with 4 overs, and Rohit Sharma will trust in Jasprit Bumrah. But to add to which, I'm also expecting the spinners to come into the party. The good part for India is Hardik Pandya is bowling well. Now, what does that mean for Team India? When Hardik Pandya bowls well and he's able to complete his quota of 4 overs, that certainly means you can afford to drop a pacer and play with 3 seamers and bring in an extra spinner on wickets which 8 turn. Now, where are India going to play their games? Let's look at possibility of India's games, right? Because India will be playing a lot of their games on wickets which are going to slightly 8 turn a lot more. Now, India will be playing likes of Australia in Saint Lucia, if I'm not wrong. Firstly, India will be playing Afghanistan. That's their first challenge on the 20th of June. And India will be playing them in Kennington Oval and Barbados. Barbados have been one of the better pitches in this tournament. And Barbados have really done well, especially when it comes to high scoring games. The pitch has turned a tad bit, but in all fairness, Barbados has been the best pitch of this entire tournament, if you look at it. So India will be pretty happy playing the likes of Afghanistan on a Barbados wicket because you don't want to play Afghanistan on a turning wicket. You don't want to play them on a Guyana or a Trinidad where the ball turns and sticks around a little bit because that's where you're going to be in so much of trouble. And then you're going to be playing the Australians in St. Lucia, which is it's going to turn a little bit. I'm expecting the St. Lucia wickets to be slightly sticky. Maybe that's where you can expect the likes of Kuldeep Yadav to be unleashed, and it's going to be possibly India's last game before the Super 8's as well, before the semi-final. So by the time India reaches that game against Australia, you expect India to have made it thus far. You expect India to have already sealed their qualification. So for all that we know, India versus Australia will be slightly better for India to be facing the last because India don't want to face Australia up front because that could be slightly tricky if you're gonna if at all if India goes on to lose to Australia first up, then you're gonna be more under pressure to face in Afghanistan or Bangladesh because remember let's not discount either Bangladesh neither Bangladesh nor Afghanistan because both of these teams have spinners and wickets are gonna aid spin. But good news for India is India will be playing Afghanistan in Barbados where the pitches are slightly better and the ball isn't going to really turn. So the likes of Rashid, Nabi, these lads can be countered a tad bit as well. So, but India should be wary of someone like a Fazlul Farooqi who's been bowling well. It's a day game, as you all know. So the seamers aren't really going to come into the party as much as a night game in the Caribbean. We've seen that with the night games in the Caribbean. The ball is swinging in the air a lot more because of the wind from the ocean and the pitches have with the moisture up in the air as well. There is a lot of swing for the seamers towards the twilight period. But with Fazlul Farooq in the opposition who's been bowling really well, I think India will be far happier facing them in a day game in Barbados. So that's a good thing for India. So that's from that game, and that's from India. India will be waiting for who will they be facing in the second game. It's going to be either Afghanistan, it's going to be either Bangladesh or Netherlands. We'll have to wait and see who India faces there. But let's talk about another team that is Afghanistan. Right, Afghanistan have been the flavor of this tournament once again. 2 ICC trophies where they're making it big and they're really making it count. So kudos to them. Kudos to Marcus Westcottick, Dwayne Bravo, everybody in the backroom staff who's really put up a very good effort in terms of managing these boys and giving them the best confidence to step out there and perform. I think Afghanistan have been exceptional. It really showed in the game they played against New Zealand because that was a big challenge for the Afghanistan team to go up against New Zealand. They scored a 158. But to come out and to bowl them out the way they did, it just looked like Afghanistan went far superior in comparison to New Zealand in all departments in that game. And that's what you want to see, right? You want to see an Afghanistan team who's playing with a lot of flair, and that's what they can do. They can bring in flair, they can bring in style, and they're much more fearless when they play such a way. You saw it in the World Cup. They don't nowadays. They don't shy away from the big boys, and it's also because these lads have been playing everywhere across the leagues, right? So they are much more confident. They are much more energetic when they go out in the field. And Mark and the likes of Jonathan Trott. I'm sorry, I mentioned Marcus Westcottick. I'm sorry, Jonathan Trott for the matter, who has been exceptional as a coach. Jonathan Trott deserves a lot of credit here because he's really developed these players, given them that confidence, and these lads been able to go out there and show it. Remember, these guys were there in 2021 when they played that T20 World Cup in UAE. These guys, these were almost the same team in 2019 World Cup as well. We expected them to come good, but they never stepped up. But now it's a point for them to really step up and show the world that we are the big boys. We have got a certain tag of underdogs and the dark horse, and let's just show to the world what we can do. So India should be wary of this game, particularly because in T20, maybe one day you can say, yeah, India will be the strong favorites. But in T20, with the kind of change-ups and with the kind of bowling lineup which Afghanistan has, right, they can be dangerous. Naveen Luck, Fazlak Faruqi, likes of Rashid, Mujib is ruled out. So you can expect Noor Ahmed, Nabi. So these lads can be very tricky to face on a turning wicket. But for good news for India is they'll be facing in Barbados. And for Afghanistan, from an Afghanistan POV, you can say that, you know, let's just play the way we've been playing. We've defeated the likes of New Zealand. We've been playing good cricket against the likes of even defeated Uganda and PNG. That doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is, let's just continue playing the way we've been playing. We are good enough to be here, and we can make an impact in the Super 8. I'm very excited for that game where Afghanistan are playing Australia because you have a very sneaky feeling that Afghanistan could pull a rabbit out of the hat for that game because one thing about Afghanistan is that they never shied away, right? And Australia, they've not really had a strong spin test, and that's going to be a very interesting game as well. And for all that that's going to be the game to watch out for. I think the game is going to be played in Kingston Oval, Kingston, if I'm not wrong. So that's going to be a very interesting game. So that game in Kingston is something which you have to watch out for. The pitch has aided a little bit of turn in this tournament thus far in Kingston, and yeah, you saw in that Bangladesh versus Netherlands game in Kingston as well. The ball has gripped. If the likes of Fazlak Farooq, if the likes of Rashid Khan can come good there, I think Australia will be slightly more in trouble. And they have a point to prove against Australia. They came close in that game in Wankhede in 2023 World Cup. They want to get over the line, and they'd be really hoping that they make the most out of it and get over the line in some fashion against Australia. So that is when it comes to Afghanistan. Afghanistan will be hoping that they defeat one of the big boys, and they'll fancy their chances against Bangladesh or Netherlands. So then they are in a better position when it comes to their qualification into semi-final. They have to get 2 wins, and that's what they'll be hoping for. Let's come to the big boys. Australia, defending champions of 2023 Cricket World Cup, WTC champions, and 2021 T20 World Cup champions, right? They won a lot of trophies in the last 3-4 years. So they are strong. They've looked the best team thus far in this tournament when it comes to covering a lot of their bases. Marcus Stoinis is in great form. Travis Head has shown form. He just came good against Scotland earlier this morning, and you saw what this team can do, right? Australia can hurt you big time. When it comes to Australia, that's the team really to worry about because they're bowling. They're a team who's still peaking in a bit in a manner which you can't expect them. Because remember, Mitch Marsh is due of a big one. David Warner, Mitch Marsh, Travis Head, they haven't come good together in a game. That is a possibility of them coming together in one game. So that is a serious possibility. So watch out for Australia because I think for them as well, they'll be slightly worried about that game where they're going to be playing, Afghanistan in Kingston. But other than that, they'll be doing a lot of their other games well, right? Most of the other games are going to be a far easier challenge for them, and you expect them to come good slowly but steadily. They are certainly the contenders, and they are the team to beat in this tournament. There is no doubt about it. Australia are the strong favorites at this point. If you look amongst all the 9 teams who have qualified, or the 7 teams who have qualified, you have to say Australia are the superior one. Then you can put in India and South Africa, etc., etc. But Australia look the best, and Australia are playing like they want to go get it for David Warner. David Warner is extremely motivated. Travis Head is extremely motivated. The group around them are rallying around the Australian team. So I'm expecting Australia to come good, and Australia are a team who can really go out there and prove a point to the world, right? Like, look, guys, we are a team. We are extremely good in terms of going out point to the world, and they couldn't make it out of the group stage. But this time, you're expecting the likes of Australia to go big, and if everything goes well, Australia should make it out of the group alongside India. I'm expecting, and that's where Australia can be dangerous, right? You put them in a knockout, then Australia feel a lot comfortable. They just play their best when it comes to knockouts. So right now, if Australia doesn't make it out of the group, that's going to be a big deal. But who can stop them? India, Afghanistan are the two oppositions I really fancy the chances of stopping them. If it comes down to that game where in St. Lucia, where India take on Australia, and if it's a must-win game for Australia, that's going to be a very exciting game to watch. And if it's a must-win game for both the teams, that's going to be one cracker of a game for sure. So it could be a knockout before the knockout, but let's just not jump the gun. That game against in St. Lucia on 24th of June is going to be a mouth-watering contest for sure. The next Monday, I'm expecting it's going to be the next Monday. Yeah, it is the next Monday where Australia versus India in St. Lucia. But before that, Australia will have the challenge against Afghanistan. You expect Australia to really counter Afghanistan pretty well, but Afghanistan have been extremely confident in this tournament. It isn't going to be like defeating the likes of likes of Namibia or for the matter Scotland. Afghanistan bringing a different challenge. Scotland also they had their challenges. They had their challenge. It wasn't easy against them. Chasing 180 or 181, they had their moments where you felt like Australia could be put in the back foot. What is my prediction? Yeah, obviously, prediction from Mad About Sports is definitely going to be interesting now. I'm expecting India and Australia to make it. And from the other group, I have to be very honest, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say West Indies and England. So India, Australia, West Indies, England to make it are going to be my semi-finalists. And a lot of people did predict this lineup way before the World Cup as well. And possible upset if Afghanistan defeat Australia, that's where it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping that Afghanistan defeats Australia just to see where the tournament takes place, because I would really love to see an Afghanistan in the knockouts of a semi-final of a World Cup, because they truly deserve to be in the knockout, to be very honest. But again, it comes down to their performance in Super 8. Can they handle the pressure? Can they keep playing? Can they grab those moments? Because in the 50-over World Cup, you saw when it comes to them being put under pressure, they slightly crumble. So if they can handle that with composure, can they really take the big boys on? Then Afghanistan and India could be a far decent shout. And West Indies and England, I'm hoping from the other group as well. So that's my prediction. That's Mad About Sports prediction. And that's about from us for tonight as well. Thank you for watching this video. If you really did enjoy this video, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Also share this video with as many people as possible. We will be back almost all throughout the Super 8's as well, giving you daily coverage, giving you daily updates as well. Have a good time, all of you. See you all very soon. Take care and bye-bye.